Okay, hello, I'm back. And I'm gonna try and do a real quick little video as kind of a little bit of a decode video on basically on the Wicker Man. Um, if you're wondering where I've been back. I've done a I made the voyage home. Um, I went back to England for 3 weeks, and then this last week I've been back in Kansas making hay, trying to get caught back up from the um, last year's mega drought that we had here, that wiped out my little bit of a hay supply that I usually like to keep a little bit extra in the barn, but it's pretty much empty at the minute. But anyway, so apologies actually go out to anybody that I have not responded to in comments or whatever. I know Journeyman had left me a comment about um, the dam thing that happened in uh, the Ukraine there with Russia, and that is a video that I will be doing here shortly. I just, when that happened while we were in England, and just the night before that, it was either the night before or 2 nights before that happened, I'd just been explaining to my cousin, because we were I was itching to tell people, show people about, the dollar bill decodes and all the stuff that I think connects to the Hoover Dam in the dollar bill. And then, I'm explaining all this to her, and then 2 days later, this dam thing happens in Ukraine, and she's freaking out about it, and I'm like, it was just funny, just funny the timing of that. But yeah, I will do something on it, especially the first thing I said about that whole thing was like, what's the name of the dam? And it didn't disappoint. It's something like the Kakufka. So it's got the hoove in the middle of it. So I was just like, you just can't write this stuff. It's just nuts, really. But anyway, I will get around to doing that video on that. Sorry, Journeyman, for not getting back to you on comments and stuff, and anybody else that's left comments, I apologize. I just spent some time, I just want to spend some time with family without sort of a huge amount of extra distraction. So anyway, before I went away, I watched this video of 88, and it's a good one. And I watched the video, and I'm like, I've got to see the film. So I was like, the first thing really I've done since I've been back is watch the film, The Wicker Man, and it's a great film. Eerily, it's got an eerie horror to it with the sacrifice scene at the end. It really is quite, as horror films go, it's not really, it's not really scary film in that sense, but the horror of it is pretty nuts. But anyway, it's a good film, and it's absolutely full of symbolism, absolutely chock plumb loaded. And so I think I'm gonna have to come back to it and go through some of that stuff at a later date. What I'm going to start with this video is I just want to show, obviously 88 is Finis Temporis is looking at 9/11 references and 33 references within the film, and I've got another 9/11 reference which I don't know. I think he's probably seen this. He probably saw what I'm going to show you. I'm guessing that probably would have left it out because it's a little bit of a stretch, especially for new people. It really is a bit of a stretch, but I'm going to show you it anyway. For me, it's not a stretch, and it's just in the opening sequence actually, and I think it's just a direct 9/11 reference. So I will show you that, and then I'm going to look at some numbers real quick, and hopefully this will stay a short video, but I could waffle for probably a couple of hours on this film, really, and the metaphors behind each aspect of the you know, the set that they're using, and you know, the ideas that they've got going on. Anyway, let's whip to the scene, and I'll show you the scene real quick, and then where is it? And then we can move on with life. This is right at the start of the film. He's flying into the island. Note that he's flying in on a blue and white water plane. He's going to fly in, and essentially, you know, there's essentially a birthing at this island, basically, because the blue and white obviously represents the Virgin Mary, the Spirit, and he's coming down in the dove from above. He's going to land in the water, in the harbour, in the port, and that's where you make entry into the world, okay? Into the Matrix. He's entering at a port, okay? So that's where we come into the Matrix, and so that's what they're getting at with the whole way he comes to the island, okay? But on his way flying, let me show you this scene, okay? Here's the aeroplane. If you can see where my cursor is, I know my definition's probably not very good on my screen, or resolution, or whatever you call it. But they've managed to pick out a couple of. They've managed to pick this mountain out, and they've done it for a reason. They've got the plane flying here. Check these two mountains out right here. Okay, very square-like, you know, very tower-like mountains here. So what I'm hinting at is that this is, you know, one of the towers, and here's the other tower here, okay? And here comes the plane, and here's the twin towers, okay? And boom, into the side of there, and a quick cutaway. So again, you know, to me that is a direct 9/11 reference, with the plane hitting the twin towers, okay? Anyway, that's number one on the list. Number two on the list is these numbers that are in here. Let me find there's a spot in here. Where is it? There we go. These numbers that he's got on his uniform, 457. 457, okay? I just want to do a quick decode on the 457. And this involves something that I use quite a bit, which is my decode chart. People that want to know more, new people that want to know more about this, just go watch this video here, okay? And that will tell you about how this chart is, I don't know, put together, and potentially what it means, okay? But I look at different shapes and symbols within here, and I look at, you know, how different numbers connect together, or adjacent numbers, or, you know, that kind of idea. But what's interesting is, right now I've got this cross in, which I use in several of my decodes. This is what I call the Great Scott, or the Cross of St. Andrew, okay? I've got it in blue here. Obviously it should be white and blue, white cross with a blue background. But again, this is the Cross of Scotland, same colours as the Virgin Mary's we just had on the plane, and of course the film is set in Scotland. Okay, so it's a nice connection, and what Finis Temporis is mainly looking at is the 33 connection, okay, in the film, okay. But we want to look at these numbers with Howie, Sergeant Howie, and here they are, okay, 457, okay, 457. And the decode that I want to show you with these numbers is, okay, it's interesting, firstly, because I've been really focusing on this set of numbers lately, which is the 59. And of course, you'll have to go back and look at previous videos to see what I'm going on about with 59. But that was, you know, one of those potential dates for, I believe, for the Hoover Dam to have a rupture, let's call it that. You know, and obviously I've been looking at the 9th of May, but obviously 59 could be a dozen different dates through the year. You know, it could be the 5th of September, it could be the 95th day of the year, it could be 95 days left in the year. It could be whatever. It could, you know, there could be several different connections to a date there. But I was just interested in that it fell within these numbers, you know, this what I've just been looking at. But one thing that I like to do is what I guess what I call it is the times table type decode. And what that is you find you have a number in here, and then all you do is you come across and see what row it starts on and what column it is, okay? And that gives you a cross reference. So this 4 right here would be cross referencing with a 23, okay? A 2 and a 3, or a 32. Let's get rid of some of this because otherwise it's going to get way too. So this 4 is cross referencing right here with this 2 and the 3, okay? So 23. Okay, and then so if we come down to the 5 now, it's cross-referencing with the 3 here and the 3 here. So we've got a 33 reference, okay, with that number 5, okay, which is pretty interesting because out of the whole table, really, that's the only place you can get 33 as that cross-reference is this number 5, okay, and the number 5 for new people, number 5 is all to do with the metaphysical, okay. Okay, and then the number 6 is to do with the physical, and all these other numbers down here, the physical, and all these other numbers down here are the metaphysical, if you like. So it's, you know, it's interesting anyway. And then this number 7 here is going to cross-reference with a 5 and a 3 again. So we have 3 numbers that came out as cross-references for this 4, 5, 7, okay? I know this is fairly complicated, but it's not as complicated as it seems. So what's interesting about that is that the 23 and the 53, oh goodness me, the 23 and the 53 also show up down here on this end of the cross, opposite the 33 here. And what happens as well is that what's in between these numbers again here is this 33 is kind of in between, and it's opposite the number 37. Coincidentally, the film came out in 73, I think. So what's interesting about the 37 is if you reverse the 37, you get EL, okay? So L, God, 73 or 37, again, super interesting that it's opposite the number that sort of surrounds, that's sort of very linked to Christ, which is the number 33, you know, the death and resurrection. Or the physical man, you know, the physical version of God, if you like, Christ, okay? So this is interesting that this sort of spiritual side of God here and the physical side of God here is opposite one another, and then we also have this 23 opposite 53. Well, when you look at that 23, as I said before, 23 is a mirror of 53. I'll show you in just a second, but 23 is in the physical column. Okay, so this is to do with physical man, you know, 2/3, 666. Okay, and again, opposite 53. Okay, 5, obviously super associated with the metaphysical, and obviously the number 3, the Holy Trinity. Okay, but again, it's just kind of, it's really interesting. Let me show you the 23 opposite the 53. Okay, so you can see now that those are mirrors of one another, and the mirror line is right here, you know, and as I had it written out before, you know, this 5 that's in between, we've got the 23 here and the 53 here. Well, the 33 is in between these two. The mirror line is the 33. This is the balance point between these two things, the number 33, you know. That number 33, again, the two columns here, okay, it's also at the bottom of this column here, But it is also, if we total up these two columns, we've got 55 and 88. The difference between these two columns then, right here, is the number 33. Yeah, it's the balance between 55 and 88 right here, the two totals, okay, numbers that you'll see in Back to the Future. Okay, so that's really interesting. So a lot of sort of hidden symbolism there when you use this table, at least, to look at it. If we do one more thing real quick, got them up here. The two people, the two people we're looking at in the film here. Rowan Morrison is the girl that supposedly has gone missing. Again, 192. I was big into the 129 references. That is also connected, and the 59 connection, which is these are connected to, in the table, number jumps that happen through these numbers here: 7,810 days from 9/11 and 7,910 days from 9/11. Give us some interesting numbers to do with the number 29, 129, 59, and of course 129, 159 is a mirror of 129, and so it goes on, and those were all numbers that I was looking at for potential Hoover Dam destruction days, the 75 as well, of course. 57, let me go back to the table, we'll show you the 75-57 connection. Number 10 obviously represents the beginning and end, so the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. It's essentially the 0. And 57, obviously, it shows up within this column here twice, actually. Once with the 157, and again with just the 570. Just knock that 0 off 57 there. So to do with the completion and or death and rebirth again. Okay, so that 57, super interesting. Also at the latter part of this number as well, 57. So again, the gematria is also tying in, and 75 has actually shown up a couple of other times. I actually found another spot in that film where the 75, there's a scene that I'll do a video on that I think might connect to the dam, and the 75 again. Pretty interesting, because 75, of course, that date's coming up in terms of the 5th of July. And again, when you go back to the table, here's the 4th of July, and again 76, and 1776 is in here as well, but 76 again, the 6th of July is coming up. It's the precursor to the next number on 1, 2, 3, and completion of a cycle again, a completion or death and rebirth again. So 76 is coming before that. And out of interest as well, if you add these two numbers up, of course, this comes to 76, these two, the 23 and 53. So again, 76, kind of interesting. You can also do a little bit of a division with this and get 7.6, and I can't remember what the other one was. I think it was 17.6 or something. So again, 76 is, I can't remember what the division was off the top of my head, but I can't remember if it was something like, I can't remember anyway. I'm not going to bother with it now because this video is already too long. But what I'm saying is, interesting that the 75 has shown up now for me a couple of times as well, and we've got this kind of coming up now. What else do we have here? Neil Howie with the 100, like the dollar bill, with pennies in the 100, pennies in the dollar bill, 100. Again, the 55, the Holy Spirit, again 143. Again, Dam Busters 1943, and 55 plus 88 is 143. You know, the combination of those two numbers. Again, another balancing type number here, 143. 44, the kill number. I don't want to say about 44. It's in the table, and again, it's right here. And I've talked about it before, so I'm not really going to waffle on about it too much right now. But again, the 44th day of the year is this day here, the 13th of February. Okay, and I think, if I'm correct, I'm not. I don't know if I am correct, but I think I can't remember what his birthday is, but I think it's like I think Edward. What is his birthday? Okay, so anyway, the guy that's playing Howie, Edward Woodward, his birthday, I'm pretty sure, I think it's the 1st of June, and I think that's the 152nd day of the year, and I think that leaves 213 days left in the year. Don't quote me on it, but again, another nice 213 reference, because there's some synchronicity with 213 and some of these numbers in here, and also Christ's birthday. So that's why I bring that up. I'm going to leave it there. Yeah, that's it for the video. Hopefully I haven't missed too much out of there, and of course I'm going to try and go back and do another video on this because it's absolutely loaded, and I might try and watch the if anybody's seen it already, if it's worth watching or not, the whatchamacallit one. What's his name? I'm thinking Nicolas Cage. I might go back and watch the remake version, and there's also the Wicker Tree as well, that is, I think, written by maybe the same guy that does the screenplay or something. I can't remember now, but so I might go back and kind of have a look at those as well. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for this one. Alright, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Right, cheers, bye.